Right, so back to this. First things first, pretty sure this is part 60, which, I mean, hold on, let me double check. It is, which is really crazy to think about, right? Because, again, if you remember back to the two longest mods I played prior to this, with this being the definitive longest one, right? At least now, since I played it, and I haven't even started Nazis right yet, still wrapping up Yuri's. Um, the two ones I played prior to this were Long Roads, which was 30-hour parts, and Re-Ups, which was 60, 30-minute parts. Granted, as of recent, I've been doing 40 minutes, but it's crazy to think that I've gotten to what, 60? And it's like, for the most part, um, I've been, what would you call it, doing a probably, I'd say half hour, half 40 minutes. So it's really crazy and wild to think about there. But again, that's what that comes down to. But anyway, who knows? It's just like, I guess theoretically, I could look and see if I look at my YouTube, which, speaking of which, all the previous parts that I were backed up on are fully uploads. So, but yeah, I can actually look at it. So, yeah, I started off. Actually, yeah, there are some shorter ones mixed in there. There are only a few that actually hit that hour mark, but again, it is what it is. And also some videos in there, right, are what would you call it? Some are just black screen or like other, half part videos. So it's like whatever. But again, the big thing there is that, yeah, I mean, when it bringing it back to this, Ryan, what it means for this is that again, maybe we get the good ending on this part, right? Who knows? But which would be very funny, but because we gotta think the bad end, what part like 56, I think. But and again, it's bringing this up because we left off at a very interesting part, I'm getting back into it. We left off at a very interesting part, that's why it's like I saw it, I'm like, okay, we need to stop right say this for nice because this was like just a complete 180 just out of nowhere on what I presumed or thought may have potentially been the final, interaction, right, for the good ending. Like that's what I was worried about. I was like, oh, is this shaping up to be the last, what would you call it? The last like the last, I guess, interaction they have, before the end of the, or at least, the conclusion of the good ending for like that route for her story. But again, then this came out of nowhere. It's like, okay, that's definitely not the case. And we can go off here. So, yeah, if you don't remember, right, as you can see here, just having kind of a breakdown, right? And this, it all came back and kind of started with like the MC remembering again, what would you call it? Remembering to this point, right? Again, and then this is we figured out because at first I didn't remember when this interaction was when they hung out, and then like it was just them two, right? But then I realized that okay, this was between it was between these two because again, this is when she hangs out with her, he hangs out with her afterwards, and then he ends up bringing her in this next interaction over. So it's like again, thinking about in terms of that, right? It's like putting it that way. It's like just like whatever. It's just really is kind of crazy. Like because I didn't even. But to be fair, it was 2 months ago. But it is like it because she was surprised too, right? But it's something to where based on that, that's I guess what kind of caused her to like open up, right? Because at first I was on the discussion about just the issue with kind of her portrayal of this, right? Is it portrays like Human Pretty is like inherently feminine, and then, or not necessarily that's inherently feminine, but it portrays it as bad. But because you're making it synonymous with being feminine, you're inherently portraying femininity as bad, you know, and then by, being, what is it, cool and strong, right? You're by inherently portraying that as masculine, but you're also, what's the term? Um, you're also inherently portraying, you're by, symbolically comparing that, or, there's a better term like again what it comes down to there is that you're making it by making that comparison, right, you're inherently implying that, just masculinity is, inherent. I'm using the term inherent. I don't know why I do, but, by portraying that as inherently masculine, that being a good thing, you're portraying masculinity is inherently good. And like I mentioned, the inverse being feminine, which is inherently bad, but that's like sort of, and then again, was it even Sayori said, right? You can't be, this, right? It's like, that's kind of it's the paradox, but that's, kind of the breaking. It's like you can be both, right? You can just have your own fucking personality and not base it off of like, you know, like this just being genuine, right? But again, it comes down to him bringing this up and then her opening up, right? And then, especially with because this was Natsuki's time, but then again, she brought this up. But again, it's like just kind of the inherent sort of aspect or reality of her situation being that, not just her size, right, and her stature and frame, but also just her more so in what she's kind of breaking down about now, right? Is her kind of her like life and upbringing home situation, right? The big thing being, because she started off with this, it's like, oh, it's just my dad, my mom's on a place, and then all of a sudden she brought like, she's fucking dead, right? I shouldn't be here, I should be fucking actually like helping out and contributing. It's like she's having a break, and it's like, and the other thing I brought that was interesting was that again, it's like what that ends up coming down to there is it's something to where like what that ends up being is that uh or what it comes down to there is that it's like okay, then it's something to where it's like because I mentioned how in Sayuri's route, part of the side story and plot, part of my favorite, one of my favorite parts of it was the side story and plot involving Yuri and how we kind of got some insight, some what would you call it, some information regarding her situation, and then like through the interaction we had with her. And that kind of gave us, I guess, what would you call it, sort of I guess a glimpse of what her out would look like. And now it's kind of the same here where we're getting some insight and some information regarding her home life, which will kind of be a glimpse into what her route will look like. There, it pays off. The only one that doesn't be Monica, she doesn't have a fucking route. But again, that was the last thing I want to say. That's interesting there, and that's like that this is happening. It will really be interesting to see how they console her because it's legit like she's on breakdown because like I read this and I'm like, wait, what the fuck is going on? Like I need to stop. But and then got like I have to be strong for the sake of my family, right? She can't be, cute and pretty like feminine, like she presumably wants to be, right? Because I mean, why else would she fucking dress that way, to compliment her, I guess, stature and frame. But the reality being, she's and I talked about this, it was like this back in the day where, lots of times a sibling, a sibling needs to step up and take that role, but her being the only one, right? And then her mother being gone, right? And if you go with other sort of mods portrayals of Natsuki's dad, specifically another mode with you, at a really because rather than portray him as like, kind of like a monster, right? Or deadbeat, instead it portrayed him as kind of like, I guess just like I don't want to say a vegetable because it's a terrible fucking term to use, but portrayed him more so as like just, you know, what would you call it? Like he had a lack of function. He was not like function. He was sort of again, he just couldn't really he was so like traumatized, so like, set back by his wife's death that, he ended up becoming like just again non-function, right? So she needed to, step up there, right? Versus in this situation where it kind of seems like, again, when referencing their shop, right? That he's trying to make things work out and she should really be helping him out since it really seems like they're struggling there. And again, the break in the whole dichotomy between, oh, she wants to spend time with her friends here, right? Versus like she kind of needs to in this subject touching on kind of her personality versus where she in the pull between her wanting to be one way but needing to be another way, right? Given her family and home situation, right? So again, and it'll be interesting to see how they all react because this is like some pretty deep shit. Like this is like a complete 180 just out of nowhere, right? So with the swings chain, I'm just can't wind be a normal, and it's like it's what would you call it? It's what was the term they use? I use a really good term, and this was something during Monica's they talked about during Monica's exclusive. It's the envy of like there's a good term they use. It's like jealousy of the norm or something. I don't remember. It was a better term. It was like, sort of the it was something like the envious of the norm or like jealous of the norm, right? You know, or like normalcy there, right? Kind of wanting like a normal life and resenting, I guess in Monk's case, it was kind of her like workaholism, right? But in Natsuki's case, it's regarding her home life, both of which one physically, one sort of, I guess, psychologically, right, are trapped to those paths and can't really experience a normal life there, right? Or like, yeah, what was I can't remember the term I used, but it was a better term. It was a good term. It was like, I think it was called, I don't even remember. So, but yeah, that's it's like she just sums it up here, right? It's like she just wants to live a normal life, right? So, okay, I get it. You do? Yeah, it's like what? It's like, huh? What do you mean you get, right? Hold on, stop. Is everyone literally gonna open up about their fucking like because I think they're still glossing over, this, right? Granted, because this is probably like a bombshell to them. It's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? Like you serious? Are you for real? But now, with I guess the direction she's going is like, is everyone gonna just like fucking open up about their problems right now? That'd be pretty crazy. Because that'd be the opportunity for Yuri to, and then maybe this is the final interaction, but it's like, and I guess, everyone kind of knows about her problems and like workaholism, right? I mean, she literally nearly fucking died in her own route, like during that third interaction because of it, or stemming from it, right? Telepathically communicate. And then again, the big thing here, because if what's going to happen, what I think is going to happen, or what I think is going to happen is actually going to end up happening, and she's going to tell everyone about her problems, right? That means that, if this line, or this seemingly implies, again, that Monica knows as well, right? Which is the MC, he didn't even have any like insight or like sort of sneaking suspicions about, at least in this, or insight, or like, like any idea about, right? So unhappy, still smile for everyone else. Wake up and face the world, I still smile. Well, burn ours with my problems because it's like I mean, here's the thing, because earlier on, he got, some he had the opportunity to, but of course, he didn't really make up with her until which interaction was it? He didn't really make up with her until like later on. So it's like, again, it's something where what that ends up coming down to there, right? Is like, yeah, the big thing there is that's like, who knows, they're right. It's something to where what it comes down to is that again, but that's just more to the regret, right? But again, it's good that they're now opening up, being transparent, because now you know about it. Versus before was just you just didn't know, right? Not knowing of a problem doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So, but here's again the issue being, he needs, like, actually, when did they reconnect? I don't even think it was until, I think it was like between these interactions. Honestly don't remember. It was like late. Like I didn't think it was gonna happen, but it happened. And it's like, that's the thing, right? Is that, how long has it been? Like it was really only through that interaction did they kind of, actually address the elephant in the room and kind of like move on from, again. Yeah, but it's also like, and then again, the big thing, and that's what we thought, or drew from, again, this statement there, that she likely knew. And this is a good thing, that's someone else besides him is actually doing, and it makes sense, given how close they were, especially when he was kind of out of the picture, not really in her life. And especially given we know that he was kind of the subject of interest, she needed to kind of like spell it out to him. And then it's also something where it's like, again, is all things mentioned on top of only really reconnecting just recently. Again, because it's like, and then this might cause him to, but he needs to take that moment to like, of like introspection, be like, it's really only been like recently since we've reconnected. Like there would have been no shot before then that you would have actually told him. So, and again, this is the feeling of guilt and regret here, right? And again, this on top of him only really having reconnected with her, right? So, okay, but this is when they were actually close, right? So, but again, that's also what this comes down to, right? Is that it's like, you know, difference in personality and character there, right? So, yeah, it's like, dude, you like it's like once right before the festival. When was this? Oh, this was, oh yeah, that was again, that was like Jesus way back in the beginning. Like that was like the week of Act One. Serious? Like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. That's a good. Why are you guys this isn't about you at this point, right? It's like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, but again, right? But it's interesting that again they did, because now, well, I don't want to say you're will, but it's like, we'll see. We already know Monka's right. So Yuri's kind of the last one, right? So, and then again, now they're like, now they're freaking just joking around, right? So again, and then again, this is interesting there because it's like, we'll is it gonna end here again? I don't know. It'll be interesting. It's interesting that they open up, because really the only one that hasn't is Yuri, right? So, but obviously, kind of different, level, I guess, of issue there, right? So, and then again, it's like, I mean, this is good for him, but really, and here's also oh my gosh, he is opening up. Because then the thing here is like, and then what the importance of this here is, the group hangout, right? You know, the group hangout here, right? Is that, she has friends, in the club. She has the club. He's not the only one, He can't always be there for her. That's what the argument causes her to realize. So even if she doesn't actually go to therapy, she still has the club to lean on, right? So, and again, the thing being, because obviously her mother is dead, right? But she's open up, which is appropriate, right? Because the whole kind that'd be a whole nother fucking level, right? It's similar of like it was like Nazi zapping or like Sayori's like suicide attempt, but it's like yeah, it's like when, and then it's like well, interesting. We know it's about a year ago, right? So we know it's about a year ago. They don't know, but you know that's actually pretty sad. But then it's like it's something to where again, this is a moment of empathy there. She can relate to Natsuki in that sense, right? So, but it's also like, you know, it's it's something to where it's like what that comes down to is, that's why, they actually grew close despite, the seemingly like differences, or clashes in like styles, right? And personalities. They actually grew together, as a result of their character and throughout this route, right? It's just interesting to point out and note there, right? So again, and it's like obviously it's not their fault. They didn't fucking kill him, but it's like, what comes down to is like this is a good moment for the club, right? Because like really that's what it should be, a support group, right? Not just him, everyone, right? And for everybody, like that's it. And I mean, this is what I'll say is the one kind of benefit of, or the one like pro, or I'd say positive that Yuri's route kind of has over Sayori's is that Sayori's route didn't really treat. I mean, at the end you have her telling the club about her issues, but it doesn't really go beyond that. Well, in this, and especially in this interaction, it's really hammering home that the club is like a support group for each other, right? On top of just being a place for friends to hang out. It's good to see this. So again, it's like because everyone is bringing up their own issues, right? That's why it's like, but that's a level of trust, right, and commitment that you're putting in each other. So, and then obviously we all know about Mark's fucking problems. They're just workaholism, right? So yeah, and it's like because it's literally been like what if you remember this started at what September of the past year, and now it's what summer, so it's literally been just one fucking year. But it's like think of all that's happened, right? Because before then it's like okay, nothing really happened, right? Club wasn't really thinking. It wasn't until he joined and then things kind of kicked off that again they could reach this point. So yeah, that's why it's like when they were all first years. So yeah, and again, this is when he showed up. So it's like, and again, something to where it's like, yeah, they're actually like interacting with each other as opposed, just kind of like sitting there, right? Let's put it that way. So teachers, yeah, it's like, damn, that's crazy, Well, it's also because their group, their projects that you can't do as an individual, even if you end up doing most of it. It's like, so freaking freeloader. So it's like you gotta hate those types of people. So again, yes, it was good though. It was good. That's why I was like, besides Shiori. Oh yeah, Shiori's the one fucking, track girl. But it's like, and again, this is good, right? Like honestly, this may actually be the last one, but it's like, yes, I'm glad that it happened because I was worried that, after he made up with her, it was gonna immediately end. It's like, whoa, 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 what's going on? Right. There's no way it's ending now. We still need more. But this, I can see this being, last one, right? So, but again, the issue, yeah, this is what it comes down to. It's like when you're at that level, it's like you don't really have, friends, right? Like you can call them that, but it's like they're not really friends. It's the big thing, right? It's like, especially like not just, and it's not just the whole workaholism thing. It's also like just kind of who you are just fundamentally, you know, in terms of like, I guess your image or persona. That's what longer that's more so the side that longer runs dealt with. But again, right? So it's like, yeah, it's like that's the thing, it's just like, and that's also like if you're giving it that busy, right? It's like it's just something to where, it's just it's not really about you, right? It's about what you do. So yeah, it's like, okay, damn, this is actually like creepy. That's like fucking like psychopath level. But it's like, and that again, or it's like because it's all coming from that, status and like sort of image and persona, right? And popularity. So it's like, yeah, it's like because you really don't know, or you wouldn't know unless you get to know, right? So it's like it's because again, this is the thing, and it all comes back from obviously we know this from just tidbits of Yuri and then Sayori's arc. We know basically, she's been kind of, groomed, kind of like take over the family business. And when you're in that kind of situation, it's like people underestimate, how much of an impact that has on you, right? It's something to where like pretty much ever since you're young, like that's just what you're trained to believe. If you go to like public school, it's like, you know, what that ends up coming down to is that it's like, oh, you can like associate with the masses, right? So yeah, so it's like, because it's just it's never happened. And the big thing, this is what I find with a lot of people is that they don't know how to fail or to lose, right? And they become afraid of that, terrified, right? And that's what ends up driving them, right? Like in this instance, it's like, I mean, shit, I've gotten what's the lowest grade I've gotten in high school? The lowest grade I've gotten was middle school shit. I don't even think I got grades. High school C, and then college B, C plus. Technically, I waived it though. I think B minus did actually better in college, but it's like, you know, granted, I don't know why I even brought that up, but it's just because the grade. But it's like, like people just don't know how to fail or lose. Like, because when you're in such a situation where you're basically freaking groomed, you know, and set up to like, live this sort of lifestyle, like that's just not an option. Something you would become again, terrified, like, horrified of that prospect. So again, it's like literally, the test, right? Because it's like, who knows what'll happen, right? You know, people, bitch, elementary school, what the fuck? You even got grades? That's basically just advanced fucking daycare. It's like, pretty much not taking, probably fucking beat her ass, like unironically, because it's like, if she's the only fucking dog, because also, and this isn't just like, the old like, oh, rural family business to where like if you don't take over, it'll literally like collapse, you know. It's like, this is more so like the corporation, like conglomerate style, family like company. So, and again, it's like this is getting pretty serious because it's also like, and it'll really be God. And all this makes me think of is I God, how I wish her out was a fucking thing because it's like we're getting this insight and tidbit into it. You know, funny enough, I made a black screen video specifically on this, what her route could potentially look like. But again, it's just like it's really just crazy and wild there. But it's like again, because like presumably she's the only sick child, right? That's another problem in the flare, right? Again, I had a brother, like I'm so thankful. Granted, I'm also thankful I'm the older brother, right? I think I got the best deal, older brother to like a younger brother who's like 3 years younger than me. Like that to me, that's like optimal. Like that's the best way it could have gone. But it's like I couldn't really fathom being an only child. It's just like, I mean, like but again, the thing being, because also that's like that's out of fear. You also need to recognize it because like if she doesn't take over, like who will? I guess maybe they go public, but we know that's not what you want to do, right? If you still want control. So crazy. But again, we would have potentially seen on their route, but it's like, and it's literally like, I mean, they're still your parents. You're still okay. You have this, right? And funny enough, her saying this is actually like feeds into that mentality, right? Or it sort of supports that. It's self fulfillment because she doesn't view them as like, I was going to mention the blood example. You're still like by blood. But here she only says food, place to live, and then lessons and stuff. So it's like, it's a self fulfilling, like, because of how they raise her to like view things that way, she doesn't even really view them as family, but she still recognize the utility that they provide as opposed to like, just they're bound by blood. So, and then again, the old like brag about your son, right? It's like, okay, but what are your accomplishments? I never understood that because I also know people like bragged about like what their parents had done, but it's like, damn, that's crazy. What do you do? Right? It's like you're bragging about other people. I mean, but you don't have to. I mean, once you've gotten what you wanted out of them, you don't need to repay it, right? At least so long as you're on your own, right? Independent. So I mean, yeah, I mean, what do you think, right? So Karen Stick. Uh bitch, it doesn't sound like any of you are okay. It's like, let's be real here. So and again, the thing being, like, think about it this way, right? It's also a question of okay, time, right? Like she's what, a second year in high school. If you only have 1 year left, it's like, I mean, and if she actually like takes over and is like, you know, is the one right, it's like, what use does she have for them, right? Like, let's be real here. So uh, yeah, it's like you should probably skedaddle. Yeah, that's why it's like, pretty sure it's sunset. So it's private. Well, shit, you know, 9-year-old kids, shit, what are you, 18? Double the age? It'd be night. There's no way you're that fucking far from where you need to be, like, especially if you walk the whole way. So, well, okay, train, different story, right? But it's like, but it's like I mean, it's not like it's fucking night, it's like, and also it's like this is the important thing here, right? Especially because now he knows he failed to, understand her, right? Just adds that regret there, the guilt and regret. Oh my god, dude, what the fuck? You know, I thought I thought he was gonna say like, no, I don't want more. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Again, this is what would you call it? This is perfectly reasonable, right? Especially after he now learned that Sayori consoled Monica rather than him. It can be the same for those two. So yeah, it's like literally like, they've been getting to know each other. So it's like it's perfect. So it works out, right? You know, damn, wait, it's like, wait a second, when did this become about us? He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's like, when did this become first off, that's a fairly bold, well, don't want to say fairly bold, but it's like you normally don't say that about yourself, right? But it's like, secondly, it's like, when did this become about us? It's like, yeah, it's like, let's go. Yeah, it's like, come on, let's leave, right? It's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, 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 yeah. The wind begins kind of, damn, what the fuck? So yeah, well, I mean, it was a pretty like, yeah, it was a pretty long conversation. So, and oh my god, is it really gonna end here? I feel like today's that thing. Don't tell me. Okay, bitch, what the fuck? It's like, wait, it's like, what's the I do I thought it was about to end. So and again, so this is just the next day, right? So, but also it's like it shows that everyone's dealing with their own shit, right? It's like, yeah, he knew a bit about Natsuki. No, you didn't. Wait, what the fuck? When did he learn about her? That's bullshit. We didn't fucking learn about her issues. Again, he knew about Yuri's. He should have known about in manga, but also Sayori's, right? He should have known, okay, he should have known about manga because the one he should have, is Sayori again, right? So, but again, the issue being he needs to recognize when did he reconnect? Like really only recent. Like, and even that they were addressing like an elephant of their sort of, I don't want to say abandonment, but like sort of them going separate directions, right? And again, it's like that just makes him feel even worse. So again, right? Yeah, it's like, this is perfectly reasonable. If you're not gonna spend time with Yuri, right? It's like no fucking the FaceTime. So, what the fuck, dude? What time is it? Hold on, yeah, that's why. Oh, it's noon. Goddamn, bro. I talk about how I always sleep till like 10 or 11, never sleep into the PMs, right? So, yeah, it's like, hey, perfectly rested for the school year, right? So, yeah, again, it's like, actually do some shit, right? It's like brunch, yeah, it's like, old times sake, right? Again, and that, sort of thought was what spawned this. So, again, is she still home? That's why it's like, because it's been a while since we've had interaction with her. So it's like it's interesting, to see, right? Versus like again, where in Sayori's route specifically, she ended up getting called back, but we haven't really seen anything like that here. So again, restaurant industry shit, maybe with Nazi's up too, right? So again, so might as well check up on Yuri. damn, what a call. It's like, you can send a text, dude. It's like you don't need to call him, right? So again, it's like, but also it's like, she wasn't the only one, right? There's, three others, who were opening up too, right? So yeah, and she was still with Natsuki, right? So and again, this is good because it'll be interesting because when I go back through, I'm gonna not have her interact with her and see kind of how that ends up changing things because this probably wouldn't lead to, this, right? Some of the stuff between them and them, kind of mending up, and being like she said, friends, right? So it's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like I have my own life. It's like, what the fuck do you mean? It's like, it's like, yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. So it's like, yeah, it's like that's good. That's good. So see, I don't think, oh my God. And then it's like freaking take over the line. It's like, oh my God, got his ass, dude. But it's like, actually, though, but it's like, I mean, it's good that they're spending time together, hanging out, though, right? So, yeah, it's like, he's like, good. That's better than not be the case, right? So, yeah, it's like, again, because funny enough, again, God, I can't wait to play Nazis Raw. That'll be so interesting. But again, that'll need to hold off till my current line work is done. So, wait, right? We'll see there. We'll see. So, again, so yeah, and it's like, he's also making lunch, so don't fucking burn it. Like, damn, what a coincidence, So, tussle. It's like, but I mean, I don't think, yeah, I'm like, wait a second, because when they hung out last, they went out, they didn't hang in, right? So it's like, yeah, that's why it's like, because she's the only other time was during the Christmas event, because she like reminisced, reflected, and like went through cabinets and stuff, and that was what kind of caused him to realize like shit, I haven't really been spending time with her, right? It's like, so at least you didn't burn it, so you ask me, shit, who knows? If don't fucking say that, we know what happens in the abandonment, right? So it's like, so also, where the fuck is it? Like that's why, is she still here? Like what, sesame oil, actually, that isn't, I thought for whatever reason I was thinking vinegar because that's what you use for sushi rice, right? But it's like too much oil. Yeah, it's like freaking, you'll just fucking like, was it go straight to your fucking arteries. So, dude, he says that, but he literally just came off one. So, hey, I mean, yeah, got his ass. That's why I was about to say it's like, if it's on the go, right? You don't really have a choice, right? You gotta eat. So it's I don't have any points. Yeah, it's like, wait a second, whoa, aren't we tied? So, and again, yeah, it's like, and again, this interesting that we're honestly, this would be a very fitting place to end it off, though. And I feel like again, it's very interesting in what we're seeing, with him hanging out with her, right? And then, Natsuki hanging out with Yuri, and then also the revelation that Sayori was getting help and condolences from Monica, which would explain why, she was kind of in, I guess, a good enough, mental place, right, throughout the rounds. Again, it's something interesting no point out there. So it's like, do you? And again, he's turning to this, right? Because again, the elephant in the room, right? Again, right? So I mean, but yeah, it's like, that's why it's like the class clown, it's the old meme where it's like, again, and again, the elephant in the room, especially because after he had reconnected, he's like, again, it just needed to be addressed and brought up, right? So again, right? And he's finally calling her out on it. So again, but it's just kind of the reality of what, is indeed the case. And given based off what, if he could remember that far back, again, what her poems, right? They're pretty like decent, like indicators of that. So again, and they were like, kind of what's the term, there's a good term for this in fighting where it's like, you're not projecting, but you're sort of, what's a word for, it's a synonym, right? Let me look up projecting synonym. Yeah, projecting synonym. Well, shit, I'm using Bing, so it's like, uh, okay, yeah, no, it's not. Freaking Bing is not helpful. Um, and it's not faint. Hold on. Projecting synonym. Projecting. Um, it's not this. It keeps thinking like projecting is in jutting out, but I'm thinking of, kind of, or telegraphing. It's telegraphing, like kind of telegraphing like her sort of, mental state there, right? Yeah, it's like, because again, it's just all that guilt and regret that he's now, realizing kind of, is kind of weighing him down, burning him there, right? So it's like, that's just again, so it's like uh it's not too much slip out. What hold on, shit. What do you say? So it's like not too much. So you do, but again, it's like it's something to where again, because that's not what she wants, right? And she still views, again, that's kind of what she views her place and role and purpose as. Again, yeah, it's like, because again, and we know it's just the fundamental kind of reality and inherent aspect of not being on her, not just only not being on her route, so not actually being with her and having his own fucking, girlfriend, right? But then it also being something where kind of only having recently reconnected and then her needing to kind of like convene or find solace in her problems through someone else. It's just something to where it's like, at the end of the day, the words are kind of empty and fall flat, right? Because it's just like there's no meaning, there's no impact or effect behind it. And that's just kind of the inherent reality of like, what's happening. It's like, it'll take some time to, mend, but until that, and they've started, reconnect. That's the big thing, right? But again, it won't be until, they actually mend their sort of friendship and what they had that that'll be kind of, an option. So again, so and again, right? So it's transactional, the whole transactional thing. She wants to give more than she receives. So again, she doesn't want to be viewed as like a parasite. But again, what she views is that as actually a mutual relationship. You know, and again, because the big thing, she let that out, probably just because everyone else was, right? And it was appropriate for the occasion, and to kind of stimulate them to kind of talk about the problem. So, in a sense, her doing that was what made them, be able to do that and uplift their sort of, spirits there, I guess, lift that weight or burden off of them. But the in sort of what would you call it? The not adverse, but like inherent, or effect, right? Is that now he's again, aware, right? And now he's worried about her more than he would have been if she didn't say anything. So, yeah, right. But again, it's like the issue being we know it goes back to even then. And it's like that's just simply not possible from here on out. So it's like, because it's like, again, but he did do more, when he was on her route. But again, that's just kind of the inherent fundamental reality of not being on her route. You can only do so much. And that's why, like therapy, the support group, like is just so important. So, and again, literally this, right? Like she's been actually working on it and getting help. So even though he's not even on her route. So again, right? So, and yeah, she wasn't an idiot. Even Yuri, caught on, right? So again, right? And she opened up and then VPP, right? Especially because at the time he was more interested, worried about Yuri. So again, so that's what that comes down to. And again, this is good, right? It's just okay, what the fuck? All of a sudden, just completely different fucking conversation. And it's like, what would you call it? It's just it is good though, right? Because it's like once they do mend, then they can kind of things can go back to where they were. But until that point, it's just improvement, progress, development being made. So yeah, it's like shit, guess not. So they've been able, damn, hours. That's a good sign that they've been just sitting there talking for hours. It's like, that's like you can only really do that with like close friends. So uh again, right, Shiori and Emmy. And then again, Sakurai just doesn't care. So it's like sort of strict. But it's like his is the same, but again, you can get, through it, right? So, dude, what the fuck? It literally just started. Yeah, it's like, dude, wasn't. What do you mean summer homework? It was literally like fucking yesterday. It started. Like, what do you mean? So, dude, oh my god. So, well, you can do it together then. So, again, right? So, damn, what the fuck? But that's effective again, kind of the sort of, I guess, what's the term? The irony and sort of is that that's kind of a reflection of what he did, right? So again, right? So, but yeah, she actually needs to go do shit though, right? So it's like again, so it's like yeah, it's like well, shit, if you're gonna fucking be that way, right? I'm gonna fucking leave. So, oh my god, so. But again, yeah, that's why I'm like, that's it's good. That's a good sign, right? That's a big thing. So it's like, but it's also like, again, sort of, but it's also like just also recognizing that it'll take time, right, to like mend. So yeah, it's like again, because that's also the fundamental reality is that he can only put so much into her given he's not on her route. And it was the same thing for Yuri too when we were on Sayori's route. So is he actually gonna interact with her? So oh my god, forget about it. Yeah, that's why I was like, dude, this is the blood. Where the fuck are they? Where are they, dude? Where is that freaking jail? Where the fuck are they? So again, so that was Nat. So yeah, that's why I'm like, where the I'm a fucking idiot. So I was like, freaking jail. That's why I'm like, oh my god, I'm such a fucking. But that's good, Again, because that's who knows, maybe that's for her mother, right? So that's good. That's good, right? It's like, and then it'll be really interesting to see when we don't fucking have her interact with Natsuki. So, but again, this is kind of the more deeper, because they learned about kind of, I guess, more surface or mid-level, their sort of issues. But now the deeper ones being like, okay, her relationship with her father, right? And then similar to like Yuri's cuttings. So again, so and it'll be interesting to further explore that and expand on that in her route, right? So yeah, damn, she's learning. So it's like again, so yeah, it's good, right? Again, because it's like, he can't do everything himself. I mean, that first argument should have taught him that. It's like genuinely, he can't do everything himself. It's like that's why, there being like support groups are like so important, right? Yeah, it's like you can't do that's just not possible. Where the fuck okay, it seems like we're wrapping up though. That's why I'm like every time we get there, I'm like, is it gonna end? But it's like we haven't hung out that often. Well, is it just these three or what? So you never come nasty gamer cave. Hey, that's a man cave for you. So wait, what yeah, okay, so I guess it's everyone then, right? But it's like, well, gee, it's literally just his room. It's not okay. If you have like a separate like gaming room, that's like respect, but like don't fucking like be nasty and shit. But like most people, it's just their fucking room, right? So yeah, it's like, wait, how? It's like, dude, it's like it's literally like ganging up on him. It's like it's a tea place. Oh my god, it's the freaking boba one, right? So I don't remember. Yeah, that's why I'm like, it's the one they've been to. So not okay, and that it was Natsuki, Sayori, and him. I didn't exactly remember. So you weren't around. So yeah, that's why I'm like, so and he went with you separately, I'm pretty sure. So it's like, yeah, that's why I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm pretty sure they went there. So it's like, you know, I mean, I guess sure, I don't think so. It's basically like fucking like sugar iced tea, right? Like let's be real here. So I'm pretty sure they've been here. So I mean, because there's less weight to hold down, right? It's yeah. He's like, ooh, that was a doozy, right? So it's good. She just said, hey, but she also got short shrugs that counteracts that. So it's like so yeah. And then again, so I've maybe not. It was probably a different one. So again, it's like and I mean, yeah, it makes sense because probably the reality, and he should know this, right? Or at least have some inkling or like semblance of ideas that like they probably haven't had like people that they could consider, best friends before then. He had Sayori, but even then they grew apart. So it's like it's only after reconvening and reconnecting. I wouldn't even say he's necessarily well, okay, maybe now, right? After that past interaction, but it's like, sure, let her do it, right? Good for her, right? So what dude, okay, come on, dude. What are you even fucking saying, dude? A, it's a joke. B is like, I guarantee anyone who fucking says this, like, are just entirely fucking like, if you need to say this, you're probably wrong. So this is that wink. I was about to say, like, it's A, it's a joke. B, if you need to say that to convince yourself, you're probably fucking wrong. So yeah, it's like, what are we even talking about, dude? Like, you know, uh, of the drinks. What do you mean? That's when I'm like, yeah, it's like, plastic cups. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, for freaking boba, right? That's why I'm like, but boba's fucking expensive, right? People don't realize that, right? I mean, yeah, that's why it's like, because it's literally like it's like going to like some freaking like, what's a good example of this? Because I'm trying to think of a restaurant I would go to where I get something that's they don't specialize in, but it's still good as fuck. Um, honestly, I don't remember, but it's like some places are like that, it's like so. Yeah, it's like just literally a sip, right? Because she can also, what would you call it? You can like exchange drinks, right? It's a what would you call it? Like equivalent exchange, and that's also like the freaking like you have to chew on that shit too, right? The tapioca or whatever. So, but it's also like you don't have, like if she got an actual good one, right? So it's like uh, right now it's like damn, what the fuck? It's not that serious, bro. It's like just one you like. It's like just say you fucking enjoy it. So again, so yeah, it's like please God, don't do that. It's yeah, it's like you guys haven't. I bet you haven't even done that. Everyone is in agreement, right? Of course, she doesn't have a choice, but uh, what the fuck? That's when I'm like, we're a freaking teleportation. And okay, it's just them two, right? So, yeah, it was good. Probably could have, uh, ordered your own. And again, they're right. And then it's like, yeah, they're. I was about to say, what the fuck? Like, she hasn't been around for who knows how long. I guess she's still back. Hasn't needed to go. It's good compared to like Seaways where she was only back for like a few days or like a week, and then like had to immediately leave. But now she's still here, right? So yeah, again, it's like that's good too. So yeah, damn, that's crazy. As you freaking university, like literally, that's what I didn't even start drinking until fucking senior year. And then it's like, for me, it wasn't even necessarily that, like it was more so the place that sold it was in what I would get from that. I get like boba and like a snack. It'd be like really convenient in terms of like just like if I was like if I didn't need a full meal, but just something to stave me through whatever period of time like that I was gonna be like doing shit for. So it's like again, so but yeah, it's like because obviously fucking, it's like let's be real here, right? It's like given her situation, right? It's like she's the what's the term? The she's a girlfriend, right? Of it's something where Muslim fathers, when their children get like either girlfriends or boyfriends, if it's of the same, gender, right? They're particularly, critique or like critical of that because we're in that same role one. So it's like they want just what's best for, their fucking, what would you call it? Their child, right? So it's like, so it's like, hey, yeah, it's like, that's why it's like, because that's a you if you're gonna like say this, right? It's like, what would you call it? If you're gonna say this, like that inherently implies, something sus going on, right? That's some shit's gonna happen, but it's like, uh, yeah, it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like she's like, just don't, just recognize whose house you're under, whose roof you're under, right? So it's like, yeah, just some inherent, but obviously, this is what it comes down to. So yeah, so it's like again, it's improvement, progress, and it's good because it's like, this is what has been lacking. And now that it's finally, happening, like well, I don't want to say he doesn't need to worry, but all of a sudden it's like, like it's like that's like that was the root of the problem, and now that's being worked on. So that's why I was like, how long has it been? Because it's definitely happened, since, right? That's why it's like, so shampoo freaking where do hey, I know now I fucking switched to freaking it's gonna sound like me as fuck, but like squash shampoo because I got like some of their bars of soap for Christmas. Like my family gave it to me, and then it's like, oh, this shit's actually good. I'll get their shampoo, and like I like it. So it's like, granted, I have short hair, so it's like, yeah, let's again, because you've got other coping mechanisms now, right? So 1 week clean, yeah, that's why I'm like, uh our sarcasm. Yeah, that's why it's like, because again, because now after hanging out with her enough, right? It's like, so, and it's like, because it's like, if they never would have, or if they never, went out, then they wouldn't be in this situation now. So it's like, and they wouldn't actually be, you know, they wouldn't be, and presumably like now at least what appears to be, a healthy, happy relationship, right? So yeah, again, because it's like, but it's just, it's more so again, when this comes down to what she's saying there. So it's like, again, because this is what has been lacking, right? Especially after a parent's death. So lacking, something, or someone to fill that role. So I suppose they help Kay, and that's like, and yeah, it's just again, it's amazing how much can happen just like a year. Like, because obviously this is a fucking game, right? But if you think about in real life, 365, like, where was I last year? I was still in college last year, and I was only like halfway through that spring semester, so I was prepping for graduation, right? But it's like, like think about where you were this year compared to last year, right? Especially if you're on the younger side, if you're on the older side, okay, it makes less of a difference. The younger side, that's, it has a big impact, plays a big role there, right? So, oh, what the fuck? Okay, I got some weird pop up, but okay, just some weird thing. And again, now he's going over, I have no idea what the fuck that is. Okay, there's that. Don't tell me, is that going to be the end of the route then? Because if that's the case, I'm just going to end it here. I was, for me, I was thinking, that, any of these interactions could be the end, right? So by the Milky Way. Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, but again, and this is similar to Sayori there. So wait, what fucking poem? I honestly don't remember that. Am I an idiot? That's why I'm like, I legitimately don't remember that. I literally don't. That's why I'm like, yeah, we haven't fucking seen this. So let's see. Oh my god, it's one of these fucking poems. Believe it or not, I did something fucking similar like years ago. It did not go well. It's but that way, it turned out well. Shit, this was I don't even think I was playing DDLC at the time, but it's like, like that's why I'm like, oh god, it's one of these. But you know, let's see. That's why I'm like, shit, I don't know. That's what I was like, I don't remember that. It's like it's because we were never shown until now. So I met you. I mean, yeah, that did happen. That was fucking during Act One, but it's like, yeah, and again, they're actually like experiencing this. So yeah, it's like go make dinner. It's like, yeah, yeah, it's like, dude, we need to fucking eat, bro. Like that's why I'm like, uh, it's like, I mean, it's better, doing that than just fucking. I don't want to say wasting time, but like kind of just, dude, what the fuck? How many times is this gonna end up? Where the fuck? What is? Okay, so, dude, I gotta stop. So the fucking festival. So this is. I'm gonna stop here because I'm like, I don't know. I kept going because again, it's 53, right? It's longer. Because I was thinking, okay, any one of these time moments is gonna end, but that's when fucking saw the car. I'm like, flashbacks to fucking what was it? Never ending tomorrow, where his parents died in a fucking car accident. But yeah, the big thing here now that's actually the festival. This is 100% the last thing. So this will be something I save for the next part. This part I got enough progress done. Hey, 53, it ain't too bad. And then the next part I can finish this. That's the good route. Give my overall thoughts and opinions. Maybe just straight up go back to if I just go back to here and be able to get the rest of these done, it's quite possible that we actually just am completely done with her route. So big raising ball concept, but again, that's just what that comes down to. So with that, I don't really have anything else beyond that. That's it for this one. See you in the next one.